This time, Backroads is in the town of Tenterfield in New South Wales, near the border with Queensland. Tenterfield is a town steeped in more history than most. What's happened here has helped shape the Australia we live in today. From politics to sport. And the birth of a musical legend.
I thought I would end up in Las Vegas in a tuxedo singing The Impossible Dream, but you know, instead of running around the world shaking maracas and taking off my clothes.
But the past few years have been less giving, and Tenterfield has done it pretty tough.
We lost a lot of the bush in the fires around here over the last 12 months. So yeah, it's really just about getting these guys back out into the wild and regenerating that bush for the plants and animals.
Tenterfield is rebuilding, pulling out every trick in the book to try and get life back to normal.
You were picking them up in your hand?
Yeah, kind of seeing the fish struggling, trying to swim and survive, yeah.
They're a real shy, stealthy, secretive animal. We know now that they can survive these megafires, and we're seeing them back here in numbers.
New ideas and old are being used to build on its historic past. But I'm here to find out if it's all enough to secure Tenterfield's future.
It's a bit of a slow way to get into town, Peter.
Yes, it is, but this is how it was always done. If you need to go anywhere, you rode a horse.
And how long have you been the mayor here for?
I'm into my 9th year.
For Tenterfield Mayor Peter Petty, this is his preferred mode of transport. He is the local farrier, after all, and loves a bit of history.
And what do you love about Tenterfield? What's its claim to fame?
Oh, in the late 1800s, Tenterfield was like the hub of the universe.
Big statement. How come?
So Henry Parkes gave the Federation speech here. Banjo Patterson married Alice here in 1903. J.F. Thomas in 1902, who defended Rake Miranda, his lawyer. He's buried here. He owned the paper, the Tenterfield Star. Peter Allen, of course, many years later, was born here and wrote that wonderful lyrics to Tenterfield Satellite.
Famous song now.
My word. And then the first camp draft was held in Tenterfield in 1885. Uniquely Australia's own sport, grown into the huge sport that it is today. And if we keep going down this road, that's where I'm taking you now.
Good, oh. I knew there must be a reason for this.
We've arrived.
We've arrived.
Now a staple on the calendar in country towns nationwide. The sport of camp drafting is one Tenterfield claims as its own.
Well done.
And with droughts, fires and COVID, this is the first event in over a year. So one of its biggest agendas is to simply bring the community together.
Back on track again.
Just as camp drafting always has.
Absolute plenty of good rides and horses coming up, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, it was a challenge between different properties or different stations to do with who had the best horse. They just used to have a gathering and then it moved on from there to become the serious sport that it is today.
And it's been going since...
1885.
What an achievement.
Put Tenterfield on the map.
Oh, well done, Rachel.
It's as much about showing off and meeting old mates as the competition itself. Everyone's dressed in their finest. Camp drafting is a rite of passage in this part of the country. The art of guiding a cow around a series of pegs, with points awarded for accuracy and style.
Okay, the score for Lindsay is 21, 61 and 4. Total of 86.
Come boys.
We cut out your cow and then you go out and you chase it outside. You got 2 pegs to go around and then you have a gate to go through. And if you go the top side of your gate, you get a 3. If you go straight through the middle of your gate, you get a 4.
The competition is for all ages, and they start them young out here. 3-year-old Leo is already notching up the wins.
Well done, mate.
So, Leo, look at all these ribbons.
Look at all these ribbons.
How good are they? Did you ride really well, Leo? Tell me what you had to do.
I did them, and I did them, and I kicked doing the guts like this. This.
Is that how you won those ribbons?
Yeah.
Good on you. So do you like doing that? Tell me why.
Because I love ribbons.
Good work, boys. Well done. Ladies and gentlemen, we have got a heck of a lot to get through, a very, very big program.
It seems there's a real skill to camp draft calling.
Morning, Brent, I think out the scrub and a bit skinny at the first peg, so 21.
This event goes over 2 whole days, so it's all about entertainment.
Here he goes, Shane Holdsworth on G-Girl. Good bowler in the camp at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. This is Johnny Matheson.
Peter Zeller has been emceeing camp drafts for years.
Bad luck, Bridget. This block over on this fence, I thought you were home. Now the dust and Wade Browns are on.
He's invited me into the commentary box to see if I've got what it takes. I'm pretty reluctant, but Peter reckons I should give it a go.
So, Heather, I'm going to hand over to you, and we'll put the L plates on, and off you go.
Okay, hello everybody. So I've got Georgia coming up now. And apparently Georgia's been right through Pony Club here in Tenterfield. Alec Waters on bow out there. Done a great job on the first peg. So he's on a hard run. This is very good work. Bad luck there, Therese. Good luck, Meg. She didn't want to take this ride
She just hates this man.
because she doesn't like this mare. Am I allowed to say that?
Yes, literary licence here.
Okay. She's done a great first peg, going really well so far. And she's got very good hands, Rachel.
She's going good. Going good. 20 for cut out there.
That was 20 for cutout. Right, and the score, 21, 60 and 4. Brings a total of 85. Good on ya. Right, now Scott Brown on Just Deadly. Chris Williamson on Cadre. Kayla Russell on Donk.
Well, thank you, Heather. I'm not sure we can pay you for the full 6 hours, but that was
I think I'll leave this one to Peter, because I want to explore a bit more of Tenterfield itself. Starting off with the story of one young boy whose grandfather used to make saddles here. Peter Allen was born in Tenterfield before going on to take New York and the world by storm with his energetic performances.
I thought I would end up in Las Vegas in a tuxedo singing The Impossible Dream, but you know, instead of running around the world shaking maracas and taking off my clothes.
But Peter never forgot about his early days in the town. And years later, wrote a song that's still performed today.
How special to be in Peter Allen country.
It is special, isn't it? And a beautiful piano in a lovely old cinema.
It's a story musician Peter Harris and singer Christine Davis know well.
So Peter was here quite a lot because of his grandfather. His grandfather was George Woolnough, the Tenterfield saddler, who had this little saddlery. And I think it was a pretty calm thing, making saddles, sewing them up, sitting there in the sun on the end of the veranda. And Peter would just dance up and down the veranda as a little boy. It was just a beautiful, calming place, and I think that's one of the things that reflected on later in life.
Do you think he became wistful for the life he'd once had?
I think he was always wistful about Australia and torn between... I mean, the song, you know, I still call Australia home. It probably gives an insight to that. I mean, even the Tenterfield Saddler, here we are in Tenterfield, and the song about Tenterfield, time is a traveller. You know, wow, what a line.
Time is a traveller, Tenterfield Saddler, turn your head. Right again, Jackaroo, think I see kangaroo up ahead.
So a song about a saddler really put Tenterfield on the world stage.
That's true.
To think that such humble beginnings could lead to such a stratospheric rise. But Peter Allen was far from the first game changer out of Tenterfield. Nearly 100 years earlier, a speech was made here in the Tenterfield School of Arts that pretty much set the ground rules for modern Australia.
This is a very special hall. On the 24th of October 1889, the then Premier of New South Wales, Henry Parkes, delivered a rousing speech right here on the need for the Australian colonies to become one nation. It was a direct appeal to the people, and it would change everything. Quite simply, it was the birth of federation.
The funny thing is, Tenterfield doesn't feel as though life has changed that much in 130 years. Remember, its mayor is also the local farrier. If you need a fishing rod, some toys for the kids, and maybe a haircut, that's a one-stop shop in Tenterfield. And there are still plenty of pioneers dealing with the town's big issues head-on. I'm off to meet one young man who's single-handedly tried to save a river's ecosystem and become a bit of a national hero in the process.
You got enough animals around here?
Yeah, got a fair few.
The dogs coming?
Yeah.
All of them?
Yeah.
Hope there's a seat for me.
I think so. Get up. Hop up.
Stuart Moody is 14 years old and lives on a property that's bordered by rivers, which, like many in Tenterfield, was severely impacted by drought. He's taking me to a part of the river that he's used as a fishing spot for as long as he can remember.
So, Stuart, I guess there wouldn't have been this much water, nearly as much water in this during the drought.
No, it was fully dry.
So as you watched that river going down, you thought, I've just got to do something.
Yeah, kind of seen the fish struggling, trying to swim and survive, yeah.
In fact, this part of the river was so dry, Stuart could actually walk across it. It meant that any fish that had survived were now floundering in the scarce, muddy waterholes that remained. Which is when Stuart came up with a clever plan to try and save them.
getting down there and catching the fish, and with my mates and mates from school, would take them out and put them back in the dams.
And how were you getting them out of the water?
I'd go in there with my mates and bite with our hands and, yeah, put them in a big tub and take them out to the back and put them in dams.
You were picking them up in your hands?
Yeah, the cod and the catfish, which you want to breed, but, yeah, got the carp out, which are a pest in the river.
How many do you reckon you pulled out?
Well, in one day, one afternoon, me and my mates pulled out one of our big dams. We pulled out 103 out of it, over 50 centimetres long.
Stuart's unusual methods were unseen until a spot of television catapulted him to national attention. Commended by not only fisheries, he ended up receiving fan mail from all over the country in support of his efforts to save the fish.
Do you think what you've done might make other people think about the river and saving the fish?
Yeah, I hope so. Being a 14-year-old teaching other people, it'd be pretty good if they got in and helped try and save them too.
When the water levels rose, Stuart released his captured cod back into the system, even if that means they're now much harder to catch.
Didn't have any luck?
No, not at all today.
You a bit disappointed?
I am a bit. It kind of sucks a lot. I've just put them back in the river, and it's our cod's instincts to move upriver where the water's flowing from. I just love fishing, and yeah, it's pretty good saving fish.
Still, there's plenty to keep a 14-year-old amused without a catch. And with smart young minds like Stuart's, Tenterfield has a fighting chance of getting through the impacts of the past few years. First, drought, and then fires took a huge toll on the river systems. Nearer to town, work is underway to replant the riverbanks after the damage caused by the fires. All the plants here are native to the region and come from a local nursery that's driving the project.
So these ones here will stay up on the top side of the bank there. So we'll keep them off the waterway, and then we'll keep all of the casuarinas. We lost a lot of the bush in the fires around here over the last 12 months. So yeah, it's really just sort of about getting these guys back out into the wild and regenerating that bush for the plants and animals.
Matt Singh runs the Gunnamar Nursery with local Camilla Roy elder Helen Giroux.
Want to taste? No.
No, I'm good.
Together, they use traditional techniques to cultivate native varieties, including methods such as germinating the seeds with smoke. They want to educate people about the benefits and uses of the area's original flora, so it doesn't disappear.
Everything here we grow here is either medicinal or edible, so it's all Australian native. So we've got things like the native mint here, which is the native river mint, if you'd like to have a try of that one.
Oh, that's good.
This is the native pepper here. We do actually have two species that grow here, one called the Dorrigo pepper and the other one called the brush pepper. Just have a little bite. It'll build up.
That is seriously hot. Thank God I didn't put the whole leaf in.
It'll clean all your sinuses out.
I bet it does.
Yeah. It's a good bush tucker, that one.
This really is a case of using the past to build for the future.
Beautiful.
And it's not just about planting. The nursery employs kids referred from the local school, like Michael, who's doing a traineeship in conservation land management.
Just a little bit more soil will do. It just gave me one day off of school to come here and learn about this a bit more and help and do what I can do here, help Maddie with plants.
Do you feel pretty lucky?
Yeah, I'd say I'm pretty lucky because, like, not a lot of people, like, know about this and, like, yeah, it's, like, not a big thing, the plant side of culture.
And how much do you reckon you've learnt about the plants?
I've learned heaps so far, like, just being here for the last 10 months maybe, and I've learned heaps already. Just learning new things every week.
You might keep on going. This might be your job maybe for a long time.
Yeah, I'd like to take this up, maybe one day pass it down to my kids and they pass it to their kids and stuff like that.
Regeneration seems to be the buzzword in Tenterfield at the moment. An effort to get back to where they were, to try and build for the next generation. And it's not just the work of locals who are born here. Newcomers are making a difference too.
We're deep in the bush here, aren't we?
Yeah, we certainly are, Heather. We've got some really iconic national parks around us. There's actually one on each side of us. This is my piece of paradise.
Steve Haslam bought this 400-acre property in the year 2000. And since then, he and his wife, Bianca Wicks, have made the move from the coast to live in Tenterfield permanently.
Would you recommend it, Bianca?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's the best decision that we ever made.
And who's your little mate you've got in front there?
This is little Noah. He's a redneck wallaby.
He's gorgeous.
He is
How'd you end up with him?
His mother was hit by a car. Unfortunately, she died, but he didn't. So he'll eventually be released here. Because
It'll be
now
hard for you to let go of him.
It will, but I'll know I can still visit and know that he's really safe from wild dogs. Having this new feral fence up, he'll be safe as houses living in this beautiful property.
This new fence is a major undertaking. And while it will protect Noah the Joey, its main purpose is to safeguard an animal that Steve has been passionate about for 2 decades.
Such a beautiful spot, isn't it?
Yeah.
An animal that thrives in these rocky outcrops. And the whole reason Steve bought the property in the first place. The spotted tail quoll, Australia's largest native mainland carnivore.
They're a real shy, stealthy, secretive animal, and so this habitat really suits them. They love those caves to hide in through the day.
So this is absolutely ideal. You found the right place, didn't you?
This indeed is quoll headquarters, yeah, it's perfect for them. They're sort of the size of a large cat. They're ginger in colour with this beautiful array of white spots, long tail. They're stealthy night hunter. They're a complete carnivore. They're agile, super quiet. They can climb trees really well. And they're great hunters. Unfortunately, Australians don't know much about them because of their stealthy nature, but they're a beautiful animal, and they really need protecting, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Bushfires heavily affected the quolls, killing many and permanently changing their habitat. Steve has been working ever since to monitor the population, but they're not easy to find. So, for the most part, Steve relies on his secret army of hidden infrared cameras.
Well, these are a fantastic research tool. These are a game changer. Infrared, night vision. I set them up in places, usually use a bit of bait. They love chicken for bait. Yeah, let's have a look at what's been around.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's just last night, Heather. And each one, as you can see, each one has got its own pattern of spots.
Yes.
So I can tell exactly which animals are around from their spot pattern. You know, they've barcoded themselves, basically.
Do you think this is showing you yet that there are more quolls around here as a result of your efforts?
Yeah, it's showing that there's still a really strong population. Without these, I couldn't do that. And it's also showing that they've recovered really well after the bushfires. At first, they had to leave the area to find food, and it was a really daunting time for me. But we know now that they can survive these megafires, and we're seeing them back here in numbers. The quolls absolutely love this granite country.
Steve and Bianca now join the long list of people helping Tenterfield get back on its feet. A team of environmentalists leaning on a strong community, held together by tradition and hope. I've returned to the camp draft on its final day because it seems to me it's this event that best encapsulates what makes Tenterfield work. As the final runs are happening, it's the way people come together here that I think tells me a lot about this town.
You've got to have a certain tenacity and finely honed skill set to do well at camp drafting and to defy the heat and the dust. It's a spirit that sums up Tenterfield, really. No wonder the place has such a rich, trailblazing history. They've got form here, going back generations. And that's why I'm sure they'll succeed at preserving what they've got and building for the future.
Right, Jack Maloney's here on Kitten. Brucey Lurch, 52, Shane Holbert, 53, Tony Farrell.
I never thought I'd live in a country town, but the opportunities are endless out here, and I feel living in a small community, you're just so much more a part of the little world that you live in.
It's the location, it's the people. Our history, we love our history. That's what attracts people here. Old-fashioned, old school. They still say good day to you in the street. That's what Tenterfield's like.
Next time...
Go, go, go!
A shot of adrenaline.
You're a madman!
On the land and in the skies.
Australia is holding its breath as the Japanese attack Darwin.
Love and war. It's all go in the top end.
You're looking at 240 million years of evolution right there.